Well, 49er fans, I hope you had a great Christmas morning because it's been a pretty rough Christmas night, and I really don't know how. It's kind of impressive that there is still an actual football game underway here. The 49ers, when they're back from commercial break of this 2-minute warning, are going to be on the goal line. The amount of things that need to go well for the 49ers is like everything. They need to have the most perfect 2 minutes of football in the history of professional football to even think that they could be back into this game. It has been Ravens in just about every single conceivable way it could be the Baltimore Ravens, to the point where Brock Purdy could come back into this game, but I don't believe we are going to see him in this game because of the current state of the 49ers offensive line. Both Trent Williams and Aaron Banks are out of this game. There's been a huge reshuffling. There isn't another reserve offensive lineman remaining for the 49ers, so hopefully they can make it through at least 2 minutes here. But I mean, this has just been a thorough beatdown in every conceivable way. And I guess the silver lining is it's still technically a football game if something happens like on the next play and then the most amazing defensive series, possibly a defensive touchdown. You still got some timeouts left here. So there is still something to talk about in this football game as the Niners line up for a 3rd and goal play from the 2-yard line. And like I said, it's a patchwork offensive line, and Sam Darnold just got sacked to set up a 4th and goal. So now truly multiple Christmas miracles will be the only thing saving the 49ers from what is really a beating even worse than what the scoreboard says, because along the way of losing this game, the 49ers became their own worst enemy. They truly have. A 3-turnover half, a 4-interception game with at least 3 or 4 other interceptions just left out there. I mean, the Niners could have turned the ball over tonight 7 times, to be completely honest with you. And it's still a 2-score game. So there's your moral victory of Christmas. Hello and welcome. My name's Damon Bruce. It's great to have you here. It is the Hughes Orthopedics Postgame and Damon show, and I do want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I know it's going to be a tough sell for a lot of Niners fans that there is indeed a Merry Christmas to this evening. Hopefully you had a really good Christmas morning and a good Christmas day. Again, 4th and goal from a yardage that's going to be a teenager here. What are they? 4th and goal from the 18-yard line, and the 49ers need a touchdown right here, or it's going to be knees and good night for Lamar and company. And it is an interception for Sam Darnold thrown at the 1-yard line, and that's all she wrote. Darnold's first interception, the 49ers' 5th interception of the evening, and everything that pretty much could go wrong did go wrong for them tonight. The Niners are going to be collectively disgusted by this 33-19 defeat at home to the Baltimore Ravens, who came into this game with the best record in football and leave this game with the best record in football. The 49ers still control their own destiny, but things have become more interesting, and the win that a lot of people assumed would be waiting for the Niners at home was not waiting for them tonight. And the Niners did not have a good football game. I mean, there's no other way around it. And the turnovers from Brock have completely eliminated him from any MVP discussion, because that's just kind of how the world of sports and media work. So you can pretty much kiss that one goodbye. There is still an awful lot of football season remaining. There really is. 2 games in which you control your own destiny. And if the Niners do that and get that done, they will be the 1 seed in the NFC. But my goodness, everything just got a little bit more degree of difficulty dialed up due to a fall flat on your face. I mean, seriously, it's like a burn the tape game for the 49ers. That's how bad that one was. It was a burn the tape game. I don't know what you can really learn. I don't think anybody needs to watch much tape to find out you can't turn the ball over like that. And Baltimore, look, The Ravens came in here and did everything the Ravens want to do as a football team. They won all three phases. Lamar dominated the game in the way that Lamar dominates a game. And I thought one of the bigger plays of the game, and really the only thing that kept the Niners in this game for a very, very long time, was the Ravens having to settle for field goals. It wasn't a great night in the red zone for the Ravens, but when you score on, I believe, 7 consecutive possessions, you're going to be really tough to beat. And 23 of 35, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air for Lamar with another 46 on the ground. He's taken knees. The Ravens are victory formation here. And that is it. It is official. Welcome, everyone. A final is now in the books. There it is, 33-19. The Ravens have spoiled Christmas night for Niner fans, not just in San Francisco or the Bay Area, but all over the world. I mean, the 49ers got just, again, the type of loss that hurts, because not only did you definitely get beat, but you beat yourself along the way. And I mean, no excuses. There are different degrees of interceptions that Brock Purdy was responsible for this evening, but none of them are excusable when you're playing for the ultimate prize. This league is brutal. This league is hard. This league each and every week is ready to just absolutely clock you with brass knuckles. I don't care how you were playing the week before, what kind of stretch of good weeks you put together. This league is built to humble everyone. Look, I stumbled into a Twitter incident earlier when I just was trying to make a point about how Patrick Mahomes, was able to be the rising tide that lifted all boats in Kansas City's harbor last year. But this year, even though he remains spectacular, the rest of that team around them, there's been a huge market correction to who they really are. And that's why the Kansas City Chiefs struggle offensively in an experiment that a lot of people want to see Brock Purdy run in some alternative timeline. Well, Brock Purdy didn't even need to be on another team. Brock Purdy didn't need to show up in another uniform or be surrounded by less talent to have a god-awful football game. He was bad tonight. You could tell he was out of rhythm a little bit right from the get-go, and he never got it back. And sort of like a bad harbinger of what might be to come, I thought that one of the hallmarks of that Cleveland game was Brock getting passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. These passes that got batted didn't go down. They went up, and it felt like the Ravens came down with all of them. And he threw an interception off George Kittle's shoulder pad, which unfortunately didn't bounce down. It went straight up. And the worst interception that Brock threw was the very first interception of the night when he was looking to make a play on Debo. When he thought he saw the player flash open, but the truth was that Kyle Hamilton just jumped that route and read it the whole way, kind of okey-doked Purdy into making the throw, and it was a bad throw. All interceptions are bad. There's no excusing interceptions. There's no, well, it was really the fault of this other guy, a lineman that didn't get the right block down, or the arm that got hit as it was coming forward. It's all football. And tonight, the 49ers were not the best football team on the football field. You just burn the tape. Like, you can't have only 4 turnovers. You can't only really, when the game is still in hand, score 10 points. Remember, the 49ers had 12 points for the longest time in this game, and that was with the first points of the game being scored on an interception where Lamar tripped over a back judge. So, I mean, this was just a really weird game. And then the Ravens were able to correct weirdness on their side. The 49ers weren't able to correct anything tonight. Not really. That was rough. That was bad. There's no other way to say it. Like, the good news is you can still be the 1 seed. But the bad news is Trent Williams has a groin injury, and that can nag. Let's see how Aaron Banks is doing. Brock Purdy caught a stinger. They even said that he could have returned to the game, but Kyle decided to err on the side of caution in this one and not send Brock back out into a game that, even though you're mathematically alive in it, you're not really alive in this football game. You know, you need multiple Christmas miracles for shit to go down the way you need it to go down. And that didn't happen. Again, welcome to you. It is good to have you here. I hope you had a great holidays. I hope you had a great time with friends and family. You did not have a great time watching football if you're a Niner fan. If you're a Ravens fan and you're in here tonight, congratulations. What an unbelievably didn't really see that one coming. I thought if the Ravens were going to win, they were going to win kind of maybe more of a tight one. And I did even tell Larry, I thought that the Ravens could absolutely come in here and win this game. John Harbaugh has the kind of just always tougher than you expect, no matter the circumstances. And even with the circumstances, you think favoring the 49ers, this is an 11-win Ravens team that came in here tonight. I mean, there have been a lot of Ravens teams that were easier to underestimate than this one was coming in. But a lot of people thought that the Niners were going to win handedly. Quite the opposite happened. It is good to be here. Thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe. We are growing this channel. Memberships are actually available. If you've liked what you've watched over the seasons, you want to support the channel, a membership would be greatly appreciated. But just a subscribe, a like, which certainly doesn't cost a thing. I'm sure the chat room is all over the place. This is Tamir, who I jump in and I see completely unacceptable game performance. Tamir, there's no reason to argue with you. There's no reason to argue with that. You expected more. You have gotten so much more. There was a level of expectation that was so much more than what we've seen out of the Niners tonight. I mean, they were bad. By the way, I'm glad I caught this one. A super chat coming in from Never Daunted. The Harbaugh curse continues. It did feel like that. If I had missed another one, I truly apologize. I had to scroll all the way back up to catch that one just in time. Now let's not rewrite history here. $800,000 is too much for Purdy. I sure hope you're joking, because tonight it was a bad game, but let's not say that, this was a quarterback's loss unto itself. It really wasn't. The system sort of broke down. It did. The whole system, the offensive line got bullied up front by a much more physical, quicker linebackers. I'll tell you, I want to see both these linebacking totals. There might have been a record set for linebacker tackles tonight in this football game, because Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, Roquan had 8, Patrick Queen had 7, yet Dre Greenlaw had 12, Fred Warner had 10. They're just linebackers taking everybody's head in this game off tonight. The 49ers couldn't really get the running game going the way that they like to establish it. Even though McCaffrey eclipsed the 100-yard mark, it never really popped the way that it helped them sustain or establish drives. If the argument was, hey, one of the 3 MVPs is on the field tonight and it's Christian McCaffrey at the end of this game is definitely outranking Brock Purdy, but nobody's outranking Lamar Jackson after tonight. Okay? Nobody is outranking Lamar Jackson in my personal MVP conversation, because he kind of one-man armied this team. It was a bad game. A bad game, and if you are a Brock Purdy critic, if you want to just dig your knife in and tear it all apart, you're going to get an awful lot of ammunition in order to do that out of this one tonight. But oh my goodness, that was bad. That was bad. And look, somebody says, bro, best taken on the chin tonight. Seriously, they will benefit in the long run. I mean, I hope you're right. I didn't think that the 49ers needed the vision quest. By the way, Stacy, I actually made this note. How about them corgis? The corgis running might have been one of the best moments of the entire game, with the exception of Deebo Samuel getting anyone else on earth is depleted in that moment hit. And Debo ran right through it for like a 6-yard game. That might have been the highlight of the night for the 49ers. Debo Samuel surviving a hit from Marlon Humphreys, and anyone else is getting medevaced out of that hit. Anyone else is getting medevaced out of there. Debo turned that into a 6-yard gain. So you had the Corgis and Debo running through a manly stick, and that was pretty much your highlight reel. You know, a learning lesson for Brock. Bullpup 33. I think you're right, but I also think that he knew it's never good to throw 4 interceptions. I don't think he learned that tonight. It was just proven. Absolutely proven beyond the shadow of the doubt. You never want to throw 3 first-half interceptions. Take a note, up-and-coming quarterbacks. And then you never, ever want to throw a 4th interception. You never want to throw nearly a 5th interception. You never want to throw what could have been a 6th or 7th interception. Woo! That was not good. Again, a lot of people, you're going to see the critics, you're going to see the trolls come out. Brock fraud. I don't think there's much fraudulent about Brock Purdy. You know, we've seen... And you've seen Patrick Mahomes have bad days. You've seen Josh Allen have bad days. You've seen Jalen Hurts have bad days. You see most of the days go wrong for the Chargers. Rarely is that Justin Herbert's singular fault, but he has bad days. Tua's had bad days. There's no such thing as the quarterback who goes through the entire year without a bad day. But that was a bad day, for sure. For sure. For sure. Thank you, Damon, for hanging in there with us tonight. I need some counseling. Well, Jason, thank you for being here, first of all. You could be just about anywhere on a Christmas night, but you choose to be here. And look, I know that around Christmas time, a lot of people get depressed. If you're a Niner fan and you were kind of depressed anyways, this game didn't certainly knock you out of that. Welcome. It's good to have you here. I hope we can cheer you up a little. I'm trying to find some decent, things to talk about, but there really weren't many. The only thing that is decent about this game is the season that you had coming into it and the season that can still be had coming out of it. But the 49ers got licked tonight. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. They got mollywopped, and they were their own worst enemy. They were their own worst enemy. Damon, how much is a membership? Less than most people give for a super chat, to be totally honest with you, and certainly less than a cup of coffee. So if, again, you want to support the channel, you can drop a super chat, you can drop a membership. But if the very least you would like to do is drop a like, I'd be certainly thankful you did that. Thomas is going right into the no way this team wins a Super Bowl. I mean, there could be a way that this team wins the Super Bowl. They've played way too much good football to let a bad evening of football completely erase what has happened. But the Baltimore Ravens were better. And much better today. Any team can be better than just about any team in football on any given day. But tonight, Mike, there's no arguing with you. Or the Milwaukee Sniper, is that what I'm looking at here? Milwaukee Sniper. He looked like the last pick in the draft. Yeah, today was bad. Today was bad. Never Daunted said, can we talk about how Debo seemed distracted in spots? I mean, he survived a decleater. I got no problems with really Debo tonight. Passes were thrown behind Debo tonight. I got a problem with the offensive line tonight. I got a problem with a couple of mistakes. But I mean, here the funny thing is the defense didn't even play that bad of a game. They just couldn't get off the damn field. Just absolutely could not get off the damn field, and it was a ton of field goals that they did. The Ravens had good field position all night long. We knew that the Ravens were going to have a better special teams tonight. And man, Ronnie Bell almost gave one back. You had Debo slipping on a kick return. You had, Nick Moody hit his field goal. That's good. But look, when Justin Tucker is basically on his side of the 50, you're going to that's going through. So that was automatic. We'll see how this. We'll see how the 49ers come out of this with Aaron Banks and Trent Williams being huge questions in any sort of post-game or between now and the next game press conference. What is going on? True Blue Forever says Aaron Banks is still out there on the field doing interviews in the background. I guess that is good. You know, if he were really hurt, he wouldn't be out there giving interviews. But again, no reason to make any excuse out there. There's no excuses to be made. Niners got beat by a team that tonight was the better football team for sure and now has the best record in all of football. And even with everything going as bad as humanly possible, it looked like the Niners could have almost made that still a game at the very end with everything going as miserable as possible. Most teams throw 4 interceptions with their starting quarterback, 5 for the entire game. You're in a whole lot more trouble than the Niners were actually in at one point in this game when they should have been down by more than the amount of points that they were down. They should have been buried in this game. This game should have been OVER at halftime. Instead, it was over more in the middle of the third quarter. That might even be generous, right? Anyways, Mike Baker, thank you very much. Still love my Niners. Still support Purdy. Look, again, silver lining, it's going to feel only like words. If you want to make fun of me for saying it, you go right ahead. I thought that as Brock Purdy is throwing his third, now his 4th interception, notice he wasn't taken out of the game. There's not a lot of coaches who will let a young quarterback even go back out there after throwing a 3rd or 4th interception. That's normally thanks for the night. We're going to go to the backup. It ain't going to be your night. But the fact that Kyle stuck with Brock says, you know, if it doesn't say something about Brock, it certainly says something about what Kyle thinks of Brock's confidence in himself. His confidence not going to get rattled with all these interceptions. Again, are we searching for things to say? Yeah, I guess you have to after a game like that, right? But I do think that there is something that I didn't lose much faith in Brock to be the answer to this game, even as he was throwing those interceptions, and there should have been a few more. He was bad. He was off tonight. Jason, you didn't say much there, but thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Half dead. Bullied, punked, embarrassed at home. This team is not winning a Super Bowl. I'll tell you this, no one won a Super Bowl tonight because they didn't play it tonight. You didn't win the Super Bowl tonight. You didn't lose a Super Bowl tonight either. As a matter of fact, the best way to win a Super Bowl is to start the playoffs with the possibility of being the 1 seed. And that is still out there for the 49ers. They win their next 2 games, they get a bye game before their first playoff game. I mean, that still happens. But now the pressure to win the next 2 games or find themselves on the road at some point is real. You know, this would have been one of those, all right, you can take the pressure valve off a little bit going to Washington, which is a game I think everyone expects the Niners to win. The Rams are coming on pretty hot right now, and the Baltimore Ravens have the best record in football. The final 3 games of the year for the 49ers are a little bit more difficult than the final 3 games of the year than the Eagles have. They get to play the Giants twice, beat them. I don't want to say barely, but that was not a dominant Eagles win earlier. You know, we saw the Chiefs lose. The Lions aren't, dead yet. Not even close, as a matter of fact. They won their division for the first time in 30 years. So there's a lot that can still happen. And the AFC is pretty damn good. And the Dolphins are pretty damn good. Skills. I remember that time on Christmas 2023, the entire 49ers squad stunk, got hurt, got stomped by Baltimore, but recovered by the time to win their 6th Super Bowl. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Damon, lay off the drinks. I have not had one. Not a single drink today. I swear. This is water. I got a bottle of whiskey right there. I might take a shot before this damn night is over. I'll tell you one of the biggest surprises in this game. One of the biggest surprises in this game to me was that Jason Verrett was actually like out there on the field. They just called him up from the practice squad. He just joined the team like 2 weeks ago. I didn't think we would see him forced into action unless there were problems in the depth chart there. I didn't know that anybody in the secondary got hurt to the point where Jason Verrett now had to get in there. But he got beat by Nelson Aguilar, who put the brakes on him in the end zone, turned him around, and came back and had a "you're in trouble now" touchdown for the Ravens, who scored 2 touchdowns in 18 seconds, for goodness sakes. Boxing Day blowout for Aussie fans. December 26th is Boxing Day here. No picnic, even my team. And look you had Wisnowski even get hit with a roughing out of bounds late hit, for goodness sakes. So again, the 49ers is just, they lost all 3 phases of the football game. You're going to lose an awful lot of football games when you lose offensively, defensively, and on special teams. And tip your cap to John Harbaugh, who I think is among the most underappreciated coaches in professional sports. You know, this week, earlier, I asked who is more underappreciated? Is it Jim Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin? Because you can sit around and talk about great coaches all goddamn day long, and neither one of their names really comes up, and all they do is consistently win with no matter what hand they've got dealt to them. You know, either through their own decisions, that just who gets hurt. They continue to win, and they play sound and fundamental football. Tonight, you know, the 49ers, their hallmark of their season has been how consistently good they've operated. And tonight, they didn't look anything like the team that you'd seen. Dennis says, I want to congratulate Lamar on becoming the MVP tonight. He might have. When his legs got going, that's when this game really was taken over. What was that, a 3rd and 19 he was looking at? And his legs picked that up. I felt that was a big play in the game that had the 49ers feel like, yeah, we got Lamar contained a bit right up until, you know, that play. And then they started worrying about him running, and then they got caught in that in-between where they didn't know how to really go after him and defend the pass at the same time, so it created this space for Lamar to start operating in. I thought that his threat of "I'm about to run with this ball" opened up that pass to his running back, Gus Edwards. I almost called him Gus Johnson. Gus Edwards. It looked like Lamar was threatened with his legs, and that's when he had his big pass to Edwards there. So Lamar just became a threat, and he might have become the MVP of this league tonight. I certainly couldn't take it away from him. All I do know is in a game that even I hyped up as one of the 3 leading MVP candidates in this league is on this field tonight. He finishes this game. I don't know if he was number 1 going in, but I think he's number 1 coming out of it, with Christian McCaffrey being 2. And that was bad enough from Brock to where, you know, 3rd was nice. You know, he's lucky to even still be considered. That was how bad that was. Tamir says, Damon, why did the interceptions happen? Was it nerve or offensive line? Well, let's go through them, right? The first one was a really, really bad throw. No window dressing it at all. Bad throw. The second one was a great play by a blitzing corner And you got to give the other team a little credit too there. The third one was a little bit on Kittle. It bounced off Kittle. It's a pass that Kittle caught several times in that game, it seemed. Kittle had a really good first quarter. You thought, ooh, this is going to be a Purdy Kittle kind of game. And then that unraveled. The fourth one, his arm got hit by Travis Jones. That was on the Patrick Queen interception. But, there's no making excuses. Those are 4 interceptions. But the criminality of it being completely on the quarterback is not something that I'm going to put on him, except for that really first one. By the way, the Master Builders says, the game is over. Stop crying. Could somebody actually explain to him what a post-game show is? It's not a place to cry, but it's a place to talk about what we all just saw. And that game, its body isn't even like 25 minutes old. The game just ended, Masters Builder. So there's no crying to be done here. This is a post-game show. Thank you. My name's Damon Bruce. You must be new here. Hit like, hit subscribe. You probably won't. But if the rest of you would, to make up for Master Builder, who is a unsatisfied customer. But at least we're charging you nothing. So again, do appreciate you supporting the channel with memberships. Certainly appreciate it when you, if you're in the Bay Area and you want to support the guys that are supporting me, you support my sponsors. And I want to tell you that I was down on all fours playing with my kids on Christmas morning because my knee isn't bone-on-bone, massive arthritis pain. I avoided knee surgery with Dr. Paul Hughes, who got me the cellular replacement treatment that Kobe Bryant got done on his knees years ago. My knees feel incredible. I'm a 48-year-old man with a 28-year-old knee all of a sudden, thanks to Dr. Paul Hughes. If you're in the Bay Area, his offices are San Mateo. All the contact information is on the crawl right now. I'm going to leave that up there for a little while so you can get all the Dr. Paul Hughes information that you need. If you're just listening on the podcast, go to orthopedicsurgeries.com to learn about and contact Dr. Paul Hughes to see how you could avoid an orthopedic surgery. You'll be glad that you did. The loss sucks, but it's still a humbling loss. That's it. That's you know what your Christmas dessert was? A huge slice of humble pie. Huge slice of humble pie. Now, if you want to get into nitty-gritty, SF says, we are winning no Super Bowl with that offensive line made of cheese. Purdy had no time. Purdy was in trouble, and Sam Darnold was in trouble tonight. And the Ravens bullied along that line. Kevin Murray, no bully. He's a lover. Love you too, Kevin. Thank you very much for the super chat. Jing-a-ling. That goes straight into the ganja jar. I thank you very, very much. But look, it was a night to where they're just, sometimes on a football field, you got your ass kicked. That's what I'm saying. It's a burn the tape loss for the Niners. You can just burn that tape. There's nothing to be learned or inferred. I mean, at one point in the game, you had Brock Purdy on 4th and 11 flipping the ball over his shoulder. That's as close as he could come to getting a playoff in that situation. He had no protection. Even in a game where Brock Purdy had no protection, it's amazing that he was only sacked twice. It felt like he was sacked more than that. But that wasn't good. That wasn't good. Again, there are very few things that you can take away from that game. The Ravens scored on 7 drives. A lot of them field goals. I mean, and that's like where the good news ends. The good news ends is, you held the Ravens to a lot of field goals and you still lost. And in a game where you should have been down by 40 points, instead of losing by 40 points, it's 33-19. There you go. You didn't lose by 40 points. Merry Christmas, Niners fans. That's about as good as I got for you. Sorry. Jason. The AFC is pretty damn good. Go Niners. Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas. Everything the Niners want out of this year could still be there, but that offensive line, that was a bit shaky, no doubt about it. Brock is definitely a system quarterback. Ahmad Z, well, the system didn't work tonight. You know, the system includes you getting protection, you having guys catch passes, having your offensive line create some throwing lanes, or at least seeing them or getting through them, or not having everyone backing up into your own lap when you're trying to step into throws. The system didn't work well tonight. And Brock Purdy, look, he'll be the first to tell you he sucked. He sucked tonight. He put some lollipops up there. Wasn't good. I'm not going to make excuses. I mean, here's the thing. If we think Brock Purdy is as good as we thought he was before this game kicks off, that's a guy you don't need to make excuses for. Sometimes you play like shit. He played like shit tonight. The Niners did not play well. Full stop. Ding dong. There it is. There it is. If a Ravens fan calls you tomorrow and says, you know what, man, we kicked your ass last night, you say, yeah, you did. You really did. That was not good. But I don't know if it's a referendum on Brock Purdy can or cannot play. I think he can. And to the point that most quarterbacks get pulled after a third interception, that guy was allowed to throw 4, and I don't think he's really going to come out of that game, but for the fact he had to leave it with the stinger. I mean, I think Kyle saw everything going wrong there, and he still left him in, which says something about the trust that he has in that guy to eventually get it right or not lose confidence in himself. A system quarterback would have crumbled from I don't believe I can get it done out here when everything's going wrong around me. I didn't get that vibe off of Brock. I really didn't. Am I making excuses? Maybe I am. But I still think Brock Purdy's a really fucking good quarterback. Period. I do. Bad game tonight. I watch a lot of good quarterbacks have really bad games this year, and you have too. And if it can apply to Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and, every quarterback in this league can have a bad game, and tonight Brock had 3 of them. He did. Brock Purdy, all of the mistakes that he avoided somehow, basically, since the bye week to tonight. He's thrown a couple of picks, but, all the cataclysmic, that was just awful. He's avoided all of that since the bye week. And tonight it came roaring in. We're not looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not. We're not looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not looking at a less than, isn't right, immediately got to look for someone better than him. I don't think that that's what we're talking about here. I think the offensive line got bullied. The defense just could not make the play that got the punting unit out on the field. Lamar started scaring them with their legs, and Lamar Jackson played exactly like Lamar Jackson does. 252 passing yards, 2 touchdowns with 45 rushing yards. He led the team in rushing as well. He's an MVP guy. And, did Kyle Shanahan lose this game? Yup. And Jim Harbaugh is an elite coach, and he beats a lot of good coaches. Maybe it was Christmas food. Gold Tau says, we are frauds. Or the 1 seed. Could still go either way, right? You could be the 1 seed, or you could be totally fraudulent. There you go. So all of that is possible. How about this? You're either going to win the Super Bowl or you won't. That's the way the season ends, right? Games are not connected. Playing like this tonight doesn't mean you're going to play poorly in Washington or poorly against the Rams or poorly in the first guaranteed to be at home playoff game that you face. None of that is connected to what those opportunities will represent. Tonight was an opportunity that represented a chance to beat a really good football team. The Niners did not take advantage of that chance. As a matter of fact, what makes it really frustrating is you know that when they play well, that they can fucking beat anybody, but they didn't play well tonight, and they helped a very good team beat them. And if you help a team as good as the Ravens win a game, the Ravens are going to win that game. That's who the Baltimore Ravens are. The Ravens have been capitalizing on one or two mistakes made in every single game all year long to have the record that they have. And the 49ers handed them 4 starting quarterback interceptions, and when the backup was in, he throws one at the goal line as well. So there you go. You know, if the Ravens only need a little crack to get through the door, 49ers kicked it wide open for them tonight. They turned the ball over 5 fucking times. We are week 15 champions. Well, here's the thing. They're going to be playing football next week as well. So maybe you'll be champions that week too. It's really only that, second week, third week of February, whenever the Super Bowl is. That's the only time anyone's going to be a champion for real. Chef Craig's 360. Jingle jangle, oi, oi, oi. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Maximum! I shouldn't have even hit that button. That was the wrong button. The 49ers did not achieve maximum football. The Ravens did. Ravens got maximum football. I was going to give you a... Oi, oi, oi! Oi, oi, oi. So, Sam, the new starter? No. There is not a quarterback controversy in San Francisco. I can promise you that. Turn off the MVP chatter. Yes, the MVP chatter has probably been put to bed unless Brock is just, galactic in his final 8 quarters of the year. Nick Wright told us. Yeah, Nick Wright also told you that the Warriors didn't have a very good basketball team when they, would consistently beat LeBron in the NBA Finals. So Nick wasn't right about that, and I don't think that he's right about his Brock Purdy can't play anywhere else in football. He's lucky to be where he is. I mean, if all you had to do was be under center to be a successful 49ers quarterback, what happened to Jimmy Garoppolo? What happened to Trey Lance? What happened to C.J. Beathard? What happened to Nick Mullins? What happened to those guys? What happened to them? How come they aren't everyone's favorite quarterback to tell you, that, he's just a system quarterback? Because they couldn't even hack it in this system, surrounded by very similar talent, almost all the guys that you're talking about right now. So, again, I absolutely knew that this was going to be a referendum, a full-on referendum on Brock Purdy. I knew it. I knew it would be. It's not. There's no doubt in Kyle Shanahan's mind that he's got a quarterback he thinks he can win big with. This is Mr. Norm Macdonald. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. God, that guy was great. Damon, can you honestly say the Niners can win the chip after that ass whooping? Yeah. Absolutely. I can honestly say that the 49ers remain in the small handful of teams that can really win a Super Bowl this year. It's a small handful of teams, and they are in that handful of teams. As long as they get Trent Williams and Aaron Banks back. Again, who's going to be healthy? Who is going to be healthy at the end of this year? The healthiest team will have among the best chances to win the Super Bowl, but it still won't guarantee anything. Damon, why was the running game not working for us? Well, I mean, the Niners ran for more than the Baltimore Ravens did. They ran for 121 yards on 18 carries. I mean, it wasn't an awesome night on the ground, but it was a better night than the opponent had. But again, nothing about that game feels good. Dayton Studios says exposed your butt. Oh, look, the 49ers asses are hanging out for the whole world to take a whack at tonight. There's no doubt. If you hate the San Francisco 49ers, you just had one of the best Christmas nights you're ever going to have. And there's a lot of people that hate the Niners. That's what comes with being a legendary franchise. It comes with the territory. So the knives are going to be out. The hot takes are going to be flying all week long. We know that. We guaranteed that, right? But the truth is, even had the Niners won tonight, a win over the Baltimore Ravens, a 33-19 win over the Baltimore Ravens, doesn't mean that the Niners were about to go and win the Super Bowl. It's just not how this league works. What you did today is forgotten tomorrow. It's hard to connect two good halves of football together, much less a week of football against this opponent and connect it directly to a week of football against another opponent. Every single one of these weeks happens within the vacuum that it happens in, and you just hope to be the better team should you find yourself in the game that matters the most. You're in the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Well, just because you're in the Super Bowl doesn't mean that you can't get absolutely skinned alive in this puppy too. You're good enough to be in a Super Bowl, but you're still absolutely eligible to be embarrassed for the game that you prepare harder to win than any other game that you'll ever prepare hard to win for in your life. It's how this league works. It is savage out there. It is savage out there. The 49ers won 5 in a row. They looked great at the beginning of the year. Then they lost 3 in a row, and everyone started doubting them. Then they had the bye week. Then they come back. They went 5 in a row, and then 6 in a row, right? And then tonight is, bah. What, you telling me everything that I've seen up to this point, everything that has included Brock Purdy legitimately not being forced into an MVP conversation, but really earning his way into that conversation, with Christian McCaffrey being a legitimate MVP, with Debo even trucking through decleating hits tonight, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw murdering motherfuckers out there. Like, it was just a game where they turned the ball over 4 times. If they don't do that, they probably win, right? What if I told you Brock Purdy threw no interceptions tonight? Do you think that might have made up the final difference in the game? It was bad. Bad to turn the ball over 4 times with your starting quarterback, 5 times in total. Again, I'm not on to anything that you didn't already know. Well, why did they have all those turnovers? Is Brock just a mental midget and crumbling in front of our eyes? No, a lot of goofy football shit happened. That's what happens. He's still a really good quarterback, having a really good season. But he didn't have a good night. Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you very much. We got nearly 600 people in the room. There'll be a few thousand people in here throughout the evening. I thank you for being here on your way in or way out, hitting the like button. That helps the business of the algorithm pick this thing up and pass it around. We have memberships now available. Should you be interested, super chats are certainly welcome on a Christmas Eve. You're feeling generous, we'll be more than happy to welcome your support. But again, just a like, hit subscribe, hit notify. That'll tickle my fancy as well. Let's see, what do we got here? 14,932 subscribers. That's great. We'll be at 15,000 at some point next week. And I thank you all very much for it. Thank you for supporting what we're doing over here. It means a lot. We're trying to actually talk about football, not be pearl-clutching worry warts. You still got a really good defense. You still got a really good running back. You still got an offensive line that run blocks pretty darn well. They did not pass block particularly well tonight. They suffered because of it. Jason says, Damon, is it better to get this out of their system now than get obliterated in the playoffs? Hey, nothing that they did tonight is going to prevent you from getting obliterated in the playoffs if that's the way that game goes. Again, they're not connected. Never daunted. I have to travel home to Maryland tomorrow. I can't think of a greater punishment. Oh, man. Yeah, dude, they're going to be clapping Old Bay in your face like LeBron at the scorer's table. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And Chef Craig's, thank you very much. You got a fist bump going on. A little super sticker is what the man bought. Got to like when a man buys a super sticker. I appreciate that. Golden State Lakota said, Damon, he tried to come back in. You're just talking out your ass. No, I don't think Kyle wanted him back in there. I think Kyle looked at the state of his offensive line and said, I'm not sending my starting quarterback back out into a game where he's already thrown 4 interceptions. He's off the field. It's at the end of the night. This night's probably not going to go our direction. So this is why you have a backup quarterback. And that's why I think we saw Sam Darnold in that game. And I'll actually tell you, other than the interception, right? Other than that pesky interception, I thought Sam Darnold actually played well for moments, right? Completed a few passes anyways. So you got that going for you. Sam Darnold completed a few passes. Oh, look at my man right here, completing a super chat. $2 in the Ganja jar. Thank you very, very much. I mean, the Ravens got themselves a real shot to have the best record in all of football, the number 1 seed for themselves. What, they got the Miami Dolphins next week, where they basically are going to decide that. A lot of people sharpening the knives. We got pretenders, brand new. Embarrassing, Mike Bush. Mike continues, pretenders, he gets on it too. If you want to be angry at the Niners, you've got every right to be. They played like shit tonight. They played terribly. They played terribly. There's just no reason to excuse it. It's as bad of a game as you're going to see from them all year. They showed it to you at home against another team that's really good, so you want to lose all your faith in humanity. You want to say Trent Williams. How about this? Have faith in Trent Williams' groin. Because if that's not right, then yeah, your whole season's in a whole heap of trouble. Whole heap of trouble right now. If an offensive line, which comes with a good luck with that at times element to its play, if they lose their best offensive lineman, they're in trouble. No doubt about that. So Trent and Aaron Banks are hopefully all right. They did come out throwing the ball pretty aggressively. We didn't get a touch for Christian McCaffrey until, the second series? His very first touch of the night, we had a 14-yard gain around that left side. Again, McCaffrey's a total stud. But even if, look at it this way, if the Niners had won this game tonight with McCaffrey getting 45 touches, everyone would be complaining, well, you can't give a guy that many touches. Will that go? There's always something to worry about. And tonight, the Niners just gave you enough to worry about. You can let your imagination run wild. Joe Young, ugly night, Damon. Purdy bad, but you learn what you can from it and you move the hell on. Purdy doubters, enjoy wasting your time. He's the guy, period. Yeah, there are a lot of really good quarterbacks who've had bad games this year. Brock Purdy's had a couple of them. He's also had kind of games that have just been so spectacular that there shouldn't be a full-on, well, I totally believed in him the other day, but now's a day where he played so bad that I'll never believe in him again. All right. If you think that you learned everything you need to know about Brock Purdy tonight as a 49er fan, I guess there's no reason to watch the remainder of the season. Just pick up a sports page in the middle of February and see who won the Super Bowl, because there's no way it's going to be the Niners. So just don't even bother watching anymore. Again, someone says stop being delusional. ESG, I don't think we're having a show full of delusion and hope and pretending and excuse making here. I don't think anyone's being delusional. This game was terrible. It doesn't mean the Niners are now terrible. But if Trent Williams can't come back, it could mean the Niners are drifting into the lane of not good enough. They remain in the lane of good enough until further notice. And we'll get some of that notice based on the injury report, the way it looks going forward. Again, we're almost an hour in. Postgame and Damon brought to you by Hughes Orthopedics. My knee feels younger than I do, that's for sure. I had cellular replacement therapy by Dr. Paul Hughes. And if you are interested in such a thing, even learning about it, go to orthopedicsurgeries.com, and that may be your best and easiest way to avoid an orthopedic surgery. It was a rough day for Bay Area sports, man. The Warriors got no shot to win in Denver based on the amount of free throws that were given to Nikola Jokic and how many weren't given to Steph Curry. Not complaining about the referees there, though. Not complaining about the referees here. They also played poorly enough to lose those games. Wiggins, Clay, foul trouble for Trace, too much Kevon Looney. Sometimes you lose. Niners lost, no doubt about it. Warriors lost, no doubt about that. From one grown-up to another, says Jorge Luis Sotello. Jorge Luis Sotello. Thank you, Jorge, for a very generous super chat. Coming in with a 20 spot. Thank you, brother. From one grown-up to another, I've been a fan of this team down here in Miami since 1982. I seem to remember Steve Young team lose 40-8 at home against the Eagles and then go on to win the Super Bowl. Truly appreciate your insights. Again, as bad as you are today doesn't mean you're going to be that good or that bad tomorrow. Didn't the Raiders... if you have to learn your lesson from the Raiders... shame on you. But the Raiders were getting shut out at home 3-0. And then they put up 60 points the next week plus. And then they roll into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. When you watched them lose 3-0 at home, did you think, yeah, they're about to win their next two games in impressive fashion? No. Aiden O'Connell didn't complete a pass after the first quarter, and they still won. Football is weird. And what really sucks is, as weird as this game got, I don't think the Ravens made it as weird for the Niners as the Niners kind of made it on themselves. They made mistakes. They stepped on their own dicks all over this field tonight. They really did. They really did. Yeah, I even made the note. If the 49ers, this was at 3 interceptions. There would be 5 before the end of the night. But I made this. If the 49ers survive a 3-interception half against a team as good as the Ravens, there's nothing that they can't do. But not even they are good enough to survive that amount of stepping on your own dick. You just can't. It would be hard to survive that against the Carolina Panthers, much less the Baltimore Ravens. It's a burn the tape game. What are you going to learn? Don't throw that many interceptions in the first half. And then don't let another team score 14 points on you in 18 seconds. Don't let that happen. Again, the game had it all. It had a corgi race that got physical. It had a safety for the first score of the night. You don't see that very often. You had 3 first-half interceptions from Brock Purdy. You had some flags that were, rightfully called, but were so far away from the play that you could have also swallowed that flag. And that went against both teams. You had 2 touchdowns in 18 seconds. You got Brock Purdy nearly throwing his 4th, then nearly throwing his 5th interception before he leaves the game with the stinger. And then the 5th interception for the 49ers is thrown by Sam Darnold. The 49ers, you can tell how out of whack they were. They got hit with an illegal formation. Like, that's how bad things were. Kyle Shanahan never gets illegal formations. They got another illegal formation tonight. The whole team, maybe they were seeing ghosts. You had Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman talking about ghosts and how Brock starts seeing other jerseys out there. I still didn't lose confidence in him, and I don't think Kyle did either. Again, he was allowed to survive 3 interceptions. And we all know what a quick trigger Kyle has on his quarterbacks and how quickly he starts looking for the other girl on the dance floor. Even though he seems like he's really enjoying the dance with this gal right here, he's always got his eye out for another prettier, better dancer. He didn't start looking over at Sam Darnold like maybe this guy can fix what's ailing us tonight. He didn't think that. It wasn't until Purdy got hurt that Darnold came in. Again, welcome to you. My name's Damon Bruce. I hosted the 49er pre- and post-game show for about a dozen years. Been on the radio for almost 20. Radio can't afford anybody anymore, so I'm over here now. It's great to be here with you. It's good to be with you here this Christmas. If you're a depressed 49er fan, I really hope that we'd be having one of those, hey, fun post-game shows. It's not. We could all use a little drink. I think it's officially time for a drink. You ready for a little sip? Niner fans, cheers. This is for you. Merry Christmas. It was ugly. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I love losing. It makes us way better. Well, I mean, there's one way to look at it. I would have much preferred winning. I think Kyle would have too. But this was not a game where there's much to teach. Guys, let's not turn the ball over 5 fucking times. Break. I mean, what's a post-game breakdown supposed to sound like? I mean, Kyle can teach from anything. He can teach from anything. And I guess there will be some teaching tape out there, but there are certain times where you're deep and late enough into a year where you just say, all right, that was bad. We're on to Cincinnati. In this case, you're on to the Commanders. You're on to Washington. Dennis says, Niners bought into their hype way too much. Lamar gave them a dose of reality. Well, look, Lamar was fantastic. Lamar absolutely outplayed him, Dennis. I don't know if it was because the Niners bought into their hype too much. I mean, they have been the Las Vegas favorite in every game that they played. I mean, they got points with a worse record than the Eagles going into Philadelphia. So the fact that they got points at home against Baltimore wasn't an insult to Baltimore and should have surprised no one. I think the Niners miss Eric Armstead a little bit. But Eric Armstead wasn't the difference in those interceptions or being thrown or not. Mr. Norm McDonald, who we heard from earlier, finally getting around to getting a little more caught up here in the chat, says, Damon, thanks for responding. I love my Niners, but this was just embarrassing. You win in the trenches, and I honestly can't see the Niners winning unless they play against an OKD line in the Super Bowl. How about this? Get through Washington. Most of Washington's D-line got traded away at the trade deadline. So the problems up front hopefully won't be rearing its head. And then you got the Rams, and the Rams can be a handful up front. And then it's the playoffs, and there's no such thing as a bad team in the playoffs. You're going to have a problem in the playoffs blocking just about anybody, but normally Kyle can scheme it up. Normally the ball's out fast enough. Tonight, though, just did not work. Third and goal. You guys showed the world who the best team in football is, and it ain't the whiners. Again, can't lose and argue much, right? But I'll bet you most teams in the NFL turn the ball over 5 times against the Baltimore Ravens. They lose by a much greater score than that. Had the Niners scored before Darnold threw that pick, you got an 8-point football game, and you're kicking the ball back to the Ravens, and you got 3 timeouts. Again, if you just got in here and you're thinking that this is a show that is based in excuse making or nonsense or trying to sell a bag of bullshit to you that didn't really happen, I don't know what you're listening to. Do you hear excuses? I don't think so. You don't. The Niners got beat in all 3 phases of the game. Is that an excuse? Did I make any excuses right there? The Baltimore Ravens were the better football team tonight, period. Lamar did everything he needed to do tonight, period. Does Brock's durability concern you? It does me. I think any quarterback is a injury concern in the living, breathing flesh. How anybody makes it through 17 games at that position. Look at what we're watching around this league and how hard that is to do. How few quarterbacks start every single game. When you are on the smaller side, are you more likely to be hurt? I don't know. When you get hit hard, that's when you're most likely to be hurt. Brock got hit hard. Is that Brock's fault? Is that his body's fault? Or is that the blocker's fault? I don't know. I mean, it's amazing any quarterback survives a football game. I mean, there were a few quarterbacks tonight. There was in the Eagles game. You had you had a quarterback just had a helmet all around his knees. I mean, his knee could have been blown out in that game. Didn't happen though. It's amazing these guys survive. Freddie Jr., does the media and fans think Purdy and the Niners shouldn't lose a game this season? I'm confused. Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's unnecessarily unreasonable to say, well, you shouldn't have a 4-interception game. That's bad. You don't see too many of those from anybody. But yeah, I mean, you're going to lose. There's no undefeated in this modern NFL anymore. It's set up to make sure that doesn't happen, basically. And Lamar's a monster. Again, ESG says we couldn't run it. Why? We ran for 121 yards. That's running the football. The problem is you couldn't stop turning it over. That's the problem. The problem wasn't in the running game. It was the turnovers. That's it. That's it. The Niners failed tonight because of turnovers. It's just how it was. Nick J., on to the important question. Damon, how's the prime rib? How much did you eat? Over, under, 18 ounces? Over. Prime rib turned out great. Medium rare. Nailed the temp. Juicy. Satisfied customers. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Mark, I don't know what you're saying here, but you said that's exactly what Kyle said. Did Kyle say we're not supposed to turn the ball over 5 times? Because if he did, he's right. Are the Ravens banging Niner moms? No, they're not. No one had a I'm banging your mom game like Debo had in Philadelphia. No, that didn't happen. Hold on, I got a big sniffle right here. We're all going to go through it together. 1, 2, 3. Still getting it over a little pre-Christmas nasty head cold that tore through this house with a vengeance. You want to talk about getting your ass kicked. You should have seen everybody in this house about 4 or 5 days before Christmas. We all got our asses kicked. But we didn't turn, I didn't drop 4 doses of medicine or anything like that. I didn't like spill NyQuil 4 times. Tonight the 49ers were spilling NyQuil everywhere. Hold on. Babe rocks. Kyle got out coached again. All right. So the Niners could still be the 1 seed. They have one of the best records in the NFC. What's the again part? Did he get out coached again? He get out coached again. His starting quarterback threw 4 interceptions. That's being out coached? Okay. That's the way you want to say it. Babe rocks. If my quarterback throws 4 interceptions with 2 of them being tip drills, and that's out coached, okay. I guess I could argue with you, but I won't. That's how you really want to feel about it. I didn't think this was an out coached, out schemed. This was an out physical, and this was a you turned it over too many times type of football game. What else we got going on here? Niner Gang Bang says Ravens got hurt today. Let's see if they win next. Well, what's the deal on Humphreys, right? He went down. He's a huge player for them, man. He was having a great game. So, yeah, their starting safety goes down. That could change the entire arc of whatever the Ravens season's supposed to be or hopes to be. And injuries are brutal. Half dead. Damon, can you please address the Shanahan choke jobs that are guaranteed every year? Again, how did the Niners choke this game away? Because I thought they gave it away. They didn't choke it away. They didn't choke it away because there was an opportunity that they couldn't capitalize on. They choked it away because every time they had the ball, they handed it back to the other team. Those are turnovers. I don't see choking going on there. There's not a lot of silver linings. We're not going to pretend that there are. Trent Williams, hopefully don't be hurt. Aaron Banks, hopefully don't be hurt. Ronnie Bell, got your first NFL touchdown. That's good. There you go. That's about it. That's all that really happened well for the 49ers tonight. Debo got stuck so hard that he should have been decleated and medevaced out of there. It was a 6-yard gain. It was maybe the play of the night for the 49ers. There, other than a couple big Kittle catches or McCaffrey runs. But that was Purdy had a lot to do with it, but obviously the loss is on the team. It was a team loss. And look, it was just a really weird game. You could tell it was weird or, a little Christmas weirdness. I don't know what to call it. But it was a weird game. Just listen to the way the game was scored. The scores in this game, through the game, were 2-0, 5-0, 5-3, 10-5, 13-5, 13-12. Kyle deciding not to go for a 2-point conversion to tie the game right before, it was halftime. But then the Ravens put together a decent enough drive right before halftime. So instead of it being a 1-point deficit at halftime, you're down 4. It's 16-12 at halftime. And at halftime, the 49ers' ability, look, the Ravens settling for field goals was the best 49ers offense of the night in that first half. You know, you've turned the ball over 3 times in the first half and you're only down by 4 points. It's a fucking miracle. I mean, it says something to not be down by much more than that in that situation where you've dug your own hole and grave for yourself. But then the Niners get the ball and immediately take a 3-and-out after Purdy nearly throws his 4th interception on that opening drive of the second half. It's 23-12, and 18 seconds later, it is 30-12. And you're looking at your biggest deficit of the year. Then the Niners go down by 21 when it's 33-12. And on a Sam Darnold touchdown to Ronnie Bell, it gets cleaned up to 33-19. And even though it kind of technically almost got close, it really wasn't even that close. And the Niners squandered anything that might have even suggested to be an opportunity to get back into this game with a turnover. And they did it all night. Again, if Kyle Shanahan, I want to bring this up. If Kyle Shanahan got completely outcoached tonight, how come the 49ers outgained the Ravens 429 yards to 343? How come the 49ers averaged more yards per play than the Ravens did? Niners averaged 6.3 yards per play. The Ravens were 5.4. The Niners threw for more yards. They ran for more yards. They were 50% in the red zone, as were the Ravens. The Niners did hurt themselves with 10 penalties for 102 penalty yards. Only 6 penalties for 67 yards for the Ravens, but I'm not saying that this was a poorly officiated game. But the Niners outproduced the Ravens in a lot of important categories. Where they really failed themselves was in the biggest no-duh category that you cannot lose. You cannot lose the turnover battle 5-0 and expect to have won the football game. That doesn't happen. And that's what happened. 5 turnovers. Is that a choke? Again, half dead. Please address Shanahan choke jobs. They outpassed the Ravens. They outrushed the Ravens. They out-yardaged the Ravens. They out-averaged the Ravens. But they turned the ball over 5 times. Kyle did a lot of things that I'm sure he'd like to not do tonight. Throwing an interception himself is not among them. Again, this loss is on Kyle. Okay. These Niners suffer from Deboism. They show up when they feel like it. I don't think so. I just think that there's a lot of angry in your statement right there. You're an angry fan tonight, and you're lashing out. I don't see the 49ers give up in any game I've ever seen. I don't see that. They play hard for Shanahan all the time. All the time. This isn't a team that gives up on its coach, gives up on a game plan, doesn't take things seriously. The Ravens are really good. They entered this game with an identical record as the 49ers. It's a really good football team. That's what it is. It's a really, really good football team that as you were playing them, you stepped on your own dick 5 times. You're going to lose that game. All right. What else do we got going on? I feel like I need to tell you that Larry Krueger and yours truly will be at it on Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. West Coast time. It's Wake Up with Damon and Larry. We simulcast on both of our channels, and when our show is up against all the competition that can be offered either through established San Francisco sports talk radio stations or other content creators, we usually have a bigger audience than several of them combined. A lot of people are choosing to Wake Up with Damon and Larry. I hope you choose to do so. Again, we're pretty good live after a win or loss, but you give both of us a night to think about it. We get even better. So Tuesday morning, I know it feels like it's going to be a Monday morning, but Christmas proper was Monday. So Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. West Coast time, it is 49er. Well, no, we can't call it 49ers Wake Up because the flagship station doesn't want us to, because we're kicking their ass. So we'll just call it Wake Up with Damon and Larry. And I hope you plan on joining us Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. I hope you click like and subscribe. I hope you think about, if you are especially in the Bay Area, checking out my sponsor, Dr. Hughes Orthopedics. I have cellular stem cell plasma treatment in my knee, which is avoiding major surgery. I'm going to avoid major knee surgery, a partial or full knee replacement, because this man knows how to take care of joint pain in a way that big shoulder and knee replacement doesn't want you knowing about. Check out orthopedicsurgeries.com and contact Dr. Paul Hughes if you want to avoid an orthopedic surgery. I got to tell Doc, you got to change the name of your website from orthopedicsurgeries.com to avoidorthopedicsurgeries.com, because that's what you're helping people do. So I'll leave that up on the crawl as we go back to the chat for a little while. Mike DeSotti says, that's exactly what I said, Damon. How could the Raiders not score, then score 63 points? It's the NFL. It's about ratings and money, and they want to make this shit interesting. Look, this is not a rigged league. You don't think that the NFL helped the Raiders score 63 points or get shut out the week before, do you? Come on. That's nuts. But that's how this league works. You can look like you might be good enough to be a champion one week, and the very next week, you get your ass kicked. G-Man, you're so right. Got to tip your cap to the Ravens. They were way better today. Live and learn and move on to next week. And if the Niners move on next week with a win, then the week after that they pick up a win, they'll get a week off before they're the 1 seed. So this whole the season is over doom and gloom nonsense is a bunch of pearl clutching that we just don't really have much use for. I certainly don't have much use for it. You could still be the 1 seed. So that's how bad this season has gone based on tonight. You could still be the 1 seed. But boy, I hope Aaron Banks and Trent Williams are okay. Der Kaiser. This is a pity super chat for the jar. So many idiots in the chat here. So little indulgence. I need Tommy Lee Jones to zap me to make me forget this night. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. If you could have the Men in Black, I don't have to remember this. You would take that. Words of wisdom coming in with the super chat. I would say Kyle stepped on his own dick, but the Ravens gave him intense shrinkage. It would have been an impossibility. Kyle got the heebie-jeebies. Again, I didn't think Kyle got rattled. I think Brock Purdy threw interceptions. 49ers ate too much Christmas ham. Go Ravens. Dana, that might be it. When in doubt, blame the ham. Again, Mike is making a comment that the NFL scripted and rigged, and all I can tell you is that the only way to bring to a screeching halt a multi-billion-dollar business would be to start rigging games. The NFL, no, it's not happening. Don't mistake bad officiating with rigged. And I'm not saying this was a bad officiated game. These games are not determined before the game kicks off. Stop. Stop it. Lamar was really good. If you're saying an ass kicking keeps you honest, well, 49ers are going to be George Washington after this one. That's how much honesty they just got kicked into their ass in this game. Postman wants to know where the Duchess is. So mom has been sick since she got here. That's pretty much, she brought the Spilkus that ran through the house, and she's still not feeling great. Ian Churchill says, first-time listener, first-time commenter, great stuff. Thanks for all the jabber from a Raven. Well, thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas. The same Shanahan that choked 2 Super Bowls? I didn't like the way Shanahan was unaggressive against the Chiefs right before halftime. Otherwise, he was not on the field when Richard Sherman got burned for a late touchdown, nor did he miss the pass that Jimmy Garoppolo missed. And I'm not making excuses for Kyle Shanahan. He is 0-1 in the Super Bowl. He's also the only offensive coordinator in football history that has a Super Bowl loss attached to him for some reason. I've never even heard of another team's offensive or defensive coordinator for being a reason of losing a Super Bowl until it happened to the Atlanta Falcons. So I don't know how that happened, but your expectations of Kyle being so good at this must be so through the roof that you're counting the game that he wasn't even the head coach in. He lost that one too. Okay. All right. I mean, Lamar's pretty good. How about this? Lamar has only one loss to the NFC in his entire career. He was awesome. Again, Fred Warner was terrible again today. Was he? Because he was the leading tackler in this football game. I believe Fred Warner was the leading tackler. If it wasn't Fred, it was Dre Greenlaw. I didn't think, excuse me, it was Dre Greenlaw. He had a dozen. Fred Warner had 5 solo tackles, 10 total tackles. He was the second leading tackler in the game. And I didn't think Fred Warner played poorly. He just can't clean up everything all the time. I thought the linebacker play in this game on both sides between Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen and Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner was really good. Dana Jones, Lamar is 20-1 against NFC teams. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. Another super chat, JP from the 510. Lamar 20-1 versus the NFC, yet 1-3 versus the AFC in the playoffs. AFC's been pretty good. AFC's got a lot of talent in it. Guess what? The entire league's got a lot of talent in it. The whole damn league crawling with talent. Massive gobs of talent. By the way, take your finger, tap that like button. Just try it. It's free. It's a nice way to support the channel. Another great way to support the channel is with a membership. You're kind of liking what you're hearing here. The least hot takey show that I think is out there. I hope you'll plan on supporting it. Again, I think the least served person in sports is the adult who wants to talk about sports. Not hypotheticals, not imaginary, multi-universe timelines of how things might go. But what the hell just happened? How can we, understand better what just happened? And I think that there are some times where you have to deconstruct something because it's a very complicated game. And just to reduce it to coach bad, quarterback bad, and leave it there and not want to get any real further into it. I know it's hard to do that on a chat. Pardon me, little windpipe action there. I know it's easy to reduce something to, quarterback is bad, coach is bad, coach can't win a close game, blah, blah, blah. It's never that easy. But then there are some games where really what the hell went wrong, it is kind of easy to detect. And on a night where the 49ers outgained, outpassed, and outrushed the Ravens, where they lost this game is with 5 turnovers. That's why they lost. 5 turnovers. You throw 1 turnover, you're in a little bit of trouble. You throw turnovers, now you're in some trouble. You throw 3, well, you're drifting into there's no way you're going to win this game. You throw 4, you're basically in your deadville. You throw 5, you're in the you have no chance. You have no chance. What is the overall record for teams who are -5 in turnover margins? I can promise you it's not very good. So what is there to really learn? I don't know. I don't know what you can learn from tonight. I know Jadeveon Clowney handled, Colton McKivitz, his lunch when he had to slide over to the left side of the tackle. I also know that when you're a right tackle and you got to slide over to the left side in the middle of a football game, that's never a good situation to be in. Hopefully you rise to that. It's not a good situation. He did not rise to that situation. Ravens kicked the Niners' butt up front tonight. No doubt about it. All right. What else have we got going on here on the chat? Good to see you in here, JJ Raider. Drew Down. Again, some serious old school folks who've been supporting me since March, since I came over here after nearly 20 years on the radio. I thank you to all. Leslie, you're down from day one. So many of you that are regulars. RIP Cougar Rebels in here tonight. So many of you regulars. Michael Chan, UC Steve. I really appreciate you being here. If you're a member, thank you for being here. If you want to support the channel, again, memberships are available. What do you get? You get to support the channel. And if you want a sticker, reach out to me, get me your address, and I'll mail you some stickers. That's the best I can do for you right now. We're figuring it all out. But believe me, by year 2, by next football season, by next Christmas, we will have grown even more. We'll become more than this. We will survive a 5 turnover game. I can promise you that. Jimmy J, little super chat action, says, feels like Kyle was calling it close to the vest tonight, as if he knows we could see those dudes again in February and didn't want to give too much away, not to mention it was a game that we could afford to lose. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think that I was looking at a conservative game plan. I think I was looking at a game plan that got hurried by a lack of time in the pocket. That's what I was looking at. I was looking at a game where the Ravens were coming so fast and furiously. It was a get the ball out real quick to the flats. You got about you're working inside of 15 yards all night long because the bomb pass and the play action that you really hope to set up, it wasn't there. If that's hurried, if that's conservative, I guess. I just don't think. I think the Ravens just made it a rough afternoon on a football field. Evening, I guess I should say. That wasn't the afternoon. 5 turnovers, 10 penalties. You can watch an awful lot of 49ers football. You won't see 5 turnovers and 10 penalties in the same game. That's an awful lot of respect to the Ravens. That's also an awful lot of self-inflicted wounds. It's a lot of ugly football on the Niners' behalf. It was ugly. So, as I said, Larry Krueger, yours truly, 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, West Coast time. It'll be a monster show. I can promise you that. I want to get through the end of these super chats because I would like to spend a little bit more time with my wife after it's been we survived at Christmas over here again. Everyone was sick. We had family over. We had kids. There was no rest for the weary. I'm exhausted. I bet you're exhausted. I know Jillian's exhausted. So we're going to be back at it at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. Is that my man, Uncle Boys? Uncle Boys is in here. Good to see you, Uncle Boys. Yeah. Rough outing, being drunk at the game today. Yeah, I bet that was a rough one there. That was a rough one. You go to a game on Christmas, you want something better to happen than what happened to the Niners tonight. That was a big disappointment at Levi's Stadium, no doubt about it. Words of wisdom, again, a super chat. At least I got a Manscaped for Christmas. My balls are smooth as Jalen Hurts' face. You simply cannot tell them apart. That's congratulations to you and the balls and Jalen Hurts for making the show tonight. That's good stuff. I really don't know how much more we can go on from there, to be honest with you. Manscaped. So what happens? Like, it's Christmas, you get a Manscaped, and do you want to like play with your toy right away? Do you immediately get up from the Christmas gift exchange and run into the bathroom and shave your balls to see how well it works? How does one go about being subtle with their Manscaped excitement? These questions and more will be revealed here on the Plus. Oh, a lot of you, if you're new in here, you're like, why is it called Plus? It's Damon Bruce Plus. If the word plus rhymed with Bruce, not a lot makes sense. Not a lot. Lamar's only playoff win was in front of 14,000 fans. Look, I don't think there's any reason to try to take anything away from Lamar tonight. He was awesome, and he might have sewn up MVP of the league. And I do think it's a bit. I do think it's a bit much to say that Brock Purdy is only having the year that he's having because of all the talent around him. I do think that Brock has some very translatable skills. They weren't on display this evening, but Brock is pretty damn good, mostly makes really good decisions. And even though that wasn't on display tonight, it's kind of who I think he is. Where Lamar, he just has this game every single time I look up. Like, I don't care who's hurt, who got injured, how many running backs they're down in their depth chart, if Mark Andrew is or isn't playing, if their wide receivers are working out, if Nelson Aguilar is catching anything other than colds on any given evening, if the ghost that is what is ever left of Odell Beckham Jr. is really performing in any one way or shape or another. No matter what happens, you pretty much get 250 passing yards and a couple touchdowns out of Lamar Jackson with another 50-plus rushing yards, and that's basically what he gave you tonight. He was their leading rusher to go along with his 252 yards. He's really good and is as close to a one-man army as maybe anyone's been since Donovan McNabb was carrying the Eagles on his back all those years in a row with Andy Reid. They had some good players, but, this Baltimore team is not a team full of household names. And they got the best record in the NFL. It's an awful lot of Lamar. If he walked away with this season's MVP, no problem. And Brock might have been the guy who was leading in the clubhouse of that MVP discussion before this game got going tonight. Christian McCaffrey might have been that guy. I think they both got supplanted by Lamar in this game. Guess what? There's still at least 8 more quarters of football to play for everybody. Nothing is over yet, especially the 49ers season for those who are in such panic mode. Damon, you got that new 2024 COVID. You know what it is? It's really funny. I was reading an article about this the other day. Even though COVID is up, people are testing positive for COVID, but not really getting sick. It's the other flu. It's the other bug that is going around that is actually making people really sick. And that's what I think we got. We got kids going to like daycare and stuff. We take COVID tests. Like you could set your watch by all the COVID tests that get taken in this house. No one here has COVID. Everyone just got sick. Sometimes you just get sick. Just like sometimes your quarterback throws 4 interceptions and then the backup comes in and throws one too. Yeesh. Jane Jones. Merry Christmas, Spilkus Damon. Thank you, Jane. Thank you very, very much. Dana Jones, is this your second super chat here tonight, Dana? Thank you very much if it is. This game will go down in NFL history as the Christmas night massacre. Go Ravens. It was a massacre. I mean, a little self-inflicted massacring too. It's like, oh, the victim really did roll over on that knife a few times on his own. Damon, imagine passing the ball 44 times and only running it 15. Well, tonight Brock Purdy threw it 32 times, Sam Darnold 14 times. Again, but you're playing massive come from behind trying to catch up football. So, of course, you're going to throw the ball more. If your argument is, you never abandon the running game, 49ers ran for more yards than the Ravens did. I don't know what to tell you. Sniper FT. I found your channel. I listened to you and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Well, thank you very much for finding me. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. It's the little present that you can give me here tonight. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit like or subscribe, and I would really appreciate it. We're 60 subscribers away from 15,000. I know I said I wouldn't be giving any subscriber updates until we got to 20, but I'm very proud of that. I thought we might be able to get to 15,000 by Christmas, and we're darn near there, hopefully by tomorrow. So I got to 10,000 subscribers by the week after Thanksgiving. I wanted to get there by Thanksgiving. And if I get to 15 the day after Christmas, I'm still very much ahead of the game over here. And again, I thank you so much for the love, for the support, for finding me over here, no matter how you found me over here. And I do hope that you come on back, because when that 2-minute warning hits, we hit the air. No matter what is happening with the Niners, we go live at the 2-minute warning. I go live right here on my channel Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. with a special day after 49er football games wake-up show with Larry Krueger, and you're going to get one of those at 8 a.m. Tuesday, West Coast. So we got a lot coming up for you here, and I hope you planned on staying tuned. The Niners might not be great every week, but hopefully I am for you. And we got enough repeat customers, enough loyal listeners from the days of radio back to all new modern times that we're living in here now. Sporticus has been here forever. He's got some wisdom. Sporticus says, hey, the Ravens ball better than the Niners. Give credit. The Ravens balled better than the Niners tonight. They certainly did. Damon Bruce and Uncle Boys to the moon. Drew Down, thanks very much. And what's awesome about this community that we've built is the way that guys and gals have supported each other. And look, I really want you to know that if you had a rough Christmas, if Christmas gets you down, I was really hoping the Niners could have given you more of a pick-me-up, but hopefully the show has given you a pick-me-up and you felt like you've been amongst friends over here. I hope you feel like you're amongst friends, because you are. Pretty much. Unless you're just some dickhead trolling, in which case we don't really need you, but you're just a part of the landscape. We accept you for who you are. Two of the best teams in the league, best of the best. Someone had to have a bad day. Nothing catastrophic, though. Go Ravens. New subscriber, TM. Thank you very much, T. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. You're a clean one, Mr. Bruce. Did you see that? Randy, Elite Daytona. I did get a haircut right before Christmas. Cleaned it up a little. I think I was D. Bruce's first subscriber. So there. Dropping poundits on me.
Pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it.
I don't know if you were or weren't, Bob, but I thank you for being among the initiated. Well, I guess to truly be among the initiated, you need to be a member now. But if you're a subscriber, you're all right by me. And if you're not, hey, think about it. It would be a nice little stocking stuffer for me. Hitting subscribe just once. Just once. I know that there's at least 10 of you who are not subscribers. Oh, 4 of you just hit that subscribe button. So 6 more, we'll have 10 more. We'll be at 950, and we're even closer. I thank you very much. Thank you for all the nice, warm Christmas wishes. Thank you. Merry Christmas to the Bruce family, the Plus family, JP from the 510. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays. It was a rough one for the Niners. Are there lessons to be learned? Of course there are. Number 1 lesson, do not turn the ball over 5 times against the best record in the AFC. There's your lesson. Burn the tape. On to Washington. You can still be a 1 seed. Hopefully Trent and Aaron Banks are okay. Hopefully Brock is okay. Could still be a lot of good things at the end of this season. But we do know at the end of this night, it was not a good night for the San Francisco 49ers. That's the way the cookie crumbles on this all-hallowed Christmas. And that's the way it goes. Thanks an awful lot for tuning in, for supporting what we're doing over here. I really do appreciate it. Download that podcast. Damon Bruce Plus podcast is available anywhere you get your podcasts. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. Think about a membership. But no matter what you think about this. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. Have a great night. Merry Christmas.